Imagine this: you've lost everything. Your husband, your home, your future. Would you stay loyal, even if it meant giving up every comfort and walking into the unknown? This is the story of Ruth, a Moabite widow, who stepped into destiny by clinging to a woman with no promises left to offer. And what happens next changes the course of history forever. Our story begins in Bethlehem, during a time when food was scarce and hope was even scarcer. A man named Elimelech, along with his wife Naomi and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion, flee their homeland and seek survival in Moab, a land considered an enemy of Israel, steeped in pagan worship. Naomi was a strong, God-fearing woman, but life in Moab would not be kind to her. First, Naomi loses her husband. Then both her sons, who had married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, die too. Just like that, 3 widows remain alone, grieving and with no way forward. Word reaches Naomi that God has blessed Bethlehem with food again, so she decides to return. Ruth and Orpah begin the journey with her, but Naomi stops them. "Go back, my daughters," she says. "Why would you come with me? I have nothing more to offer you." In tears, Orpah kisses Naomi goodbye and returns home. A hard choice, but a practical one. But Ruth, she clings to Naomi, literally, holding on like her life depends on it. And then she speaks words so powerful, they echo through history. "Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." This wasn't just a promise, it was a covenant. Ruth, a Moabite, an outsider, was choosing Yahweh, the God of Israel. When Naomi and Ruth arrive in Bethlehem, the town buzzes with whispers. "Don't call me Naomi," she says bitterly. "Call me Mara, bitter, for the Lord has dealt bitterly with me." Naomi is empty, angry, wounded. Ruth? She's determined. With quiet strength, she goes out to glean in the barley fields, the ancient version of gathering scraps. And here is where a divine setup begins. Meet Boaz, a wealthy landowner, noble, kind, honorable. He's a relative of Naomi's late husband. When Boaz sees Ruth in his fields, he asks his workers, "Who is that young woman?" They reply, "She is the Moabite who came back with Naomi." Boaz is struck not just by her beauty, but by her loyalty. He tells his workers to leave extra barley for her. He tells Ruth, "Stay in my fields. I've told the men not to touch you." Boaz protects her, provides for her, notices her. Ruth runs home, arms full of grain, heart racing. Naomi, who was once bitter, begins to hope again. "Boaz is a kinsman redeemer," she says with a spark in her eye. "What's a kinsman redeemer, you ask? It's someone in the family who has the right and responsibility to marry a widow and restore her future." Could Boaz be the answer to Ruth and Naomi's prayers? Naomi hatches a bold plan. She tells Ruth to visit Boaz at night at the threshing floor, where he's sleeping after a long day of harvest. Risky, scandalous even, but deeply symbolic. Ruth, cloaked in humility and courage, uncovers Boaz's feet and lies down. He wakes startled and she whispers, "Spread your garment over me, for you are a redeemer." This isn't a seduction, it's a proposal. A Moabite widow asking an honorable man to bring her into his protection and into God's plan. But Boaz pauses. There's another man, a closer relative, who has first rights. Will Boaz step aside? Will Ruth be passed over again? Boaz doesn't waste time. He goes straight to the city gate, the courtroom of ancient times. There he confronts the closer relative. "Will you redeem Ruth and Naomi's family line?" Boaz asks. The man hesitates. "If it involves marrying a Moabite, I cannot," he says. And just like that, the door opens. Boaz publicly declares, "Today I redeem Naomi's family and take Ruth the Moabite as my wife." Ruth and Boaz marry. Joy floods Naomi's once bitter heart. And soon Ruth gives birth to a son, Obed. But here's where it gets breathtaking. Obed becomes the father of Jesse. Jesse becomes the father of David the shepherd boy, who would become king. And from David's line comes Jesus, a foreign widow, a loyal heart, a barley field, a midnight proposal, a marriage that seemed impossible, and a bloodline that would change the world. So here's the question. What if your loyalty and obscurity is the seed of your legacy? What if what looks like a detour is really your divine direction? This was Ruth, not just a love story, a story of redemption, of endurance, of purpose hidden in pain. And friend, what if your story is next? Ruth had no idea that her yes to Naomi, her steps through barley fields, and her bold midnight faith would echo into eternity. She just stayed faithful when it didn't make sense. And maybe that's you right now. Maybe you're standing in a season of loss, of uncertainty, wondering if anything good could come from it, wondering if God sees you,